Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial, we are going to be learning the revolved boss base feature. So the word revolved actually means to move in a circle around a central axis. So it's much like what the Earth does around the sun. It revolves around the sun. Okay, so you can kind of see in the example here that we're going to be having a sketch, and we have a line down the middle of it. And when we selected that closed-in sketch and that axis, it revolves it all the way around to complete the final shape. Directions say we're going to be opening the file called Revolve Boss Base. That's going to be in your folder. And then we're going to use Revolve Boss Base feature to revolve the sketch around the existing axis, like I just said. So in SOLIDWORKS, if you haven't already, you can go to File Open, and you can open up this file called Revolve. And you'll see over here there is a sketch that says revolve this sketch. But we are going to be working on the Features tab. And revolve is another common thing. So it is a larger tool. It's not one of the smaller ones. That's much like extrude. So straight objects, extrude. Rounder objects, you're mainly going to be using revolve. So revolved boss base. It's going to say we need an existing sketch. So we're going to hit this drop down and we're going to select that sketch. Now, when this comes up, it's going to ask us for an axis of revolution, and it's got a blue box here. So that's going to ask, where do you want this to revolve around? So we're going to select this vertical line here that's on the inside. And it already knows, since this is the only closed-in shape, that that's what we want. And you can actually change this to 360 degrees, or you can have it less. So you can see that it's not going to revolve the whole way. It would only revolve part of it. So there's a lot of neat things you can do with this. If I were actually to click on a different line for the revolve, you can see it creates a whole different shape. So there are a lot of neat and unique things that you can build with this revolve tool. But for right now, what we're going to be doing is making sure we have the inside selected, and we're going to make this 360 degrees. And we'll hit the green check. And I already changed the color to being red beforehand, just so it kind of looks like a spinning top. So you get the idea. You have to have a closed-in shape or a closed-in sketch with a line going down the middle or wherever you want it to revolve around. So you can save this demo, and then you can close out of it. I'm going to go back to the directions here, and we're going to start assignment 24. So in this assignment, we're going to be working in metric. And it shows this object right here, and this is the first time you might have seen a picture like this. It looks like something is cut out or removed, a big section of it, and actually it is temporarily. So this is called a section view. So a section of it is removed from the actual picture so that you can see some detail of it. And in this case, it's trying to show us that this is not a solid shape all the way to the back. It actually just has a thin wall thickness up. So since the sketch is kind of this way and facing to the right, we're actually going to be drawing on the right plane, and the origin shows it's right here, and that origin is even with this little line, so this is the dead center of it, or middle. And then we're going to be kind of following these measurements. So first off, let's pull this to our other screen, and in SOLIDWORKS we can go to File, New. And we're going to be creating a new part and changing this to metric. So mmgs, we want to be drawing in millimeters. And then we're going to be sketching on the right plane. So from here, I'm just going to get the line tool, and I'm going to kind of sketch out that staircase looking shape. So make sure you're not on the origin, because if you look in your picture, nothing is attached to the origin, but you might want to project over to the side. So these are all vertical and horizontal lines. So just kind of draw this zigzag shape up and then follow your way back. And at the very end, you're going to connect back to where you started. Okay? So you want to make sure before you move ahead that everything that you drew is either a horizontal or vertical line. So you can kind of just follow your mouse right up through and make sure that there is a constraint next to every single one. And if for some odd reason you drew one on an angle, make sure that you just change it to either horizontal or vertical. Okay. Now from here, this bottom line, like I said, is going to be the dead center. That's exactly the line that we're going to be revolving around. And that line is going to be coincident with the origin. So I'm going to select that line, hold in Shift, click the origin, and I'm going to make this coincident. Okay, so that they are lined up. So this thing can no longer go up or down. It can only move left or right. Okay. Now I also see my picture, and I'm going to pull this back. I also see from my origin, there's a little projection line going right up here saying to this inside edge. So that inside edge is also coincident with the origin. So let's go ahead and do that. So this inside edge, hold in Shift and the origin, and we're going to make that coincident. Now, depending on how you drew your picture, you might actually have a line that looks like this or something. Remember, you can always get off of any tools you have, and you can always readjust your shape so that it looks like this shape at all times. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and start putting in some dimensions. So I'll get my dimension tool, and from the outside line to the origin is 18. Okay. And then it says from this outside line to the origin, that is actually 24. So it kind of spreads it out. Then it shows there's a thickness, a wall thickness, basically in between here, here, and here, that is all 6. So we're going to click this line to this line and make that 6. And this line to this line and also make that 6. And same thing again. From there to there is 6. Okay. Now, the next part confuses people. So I'm going to pull this back over to my screen. And the lines that we have blue are the horizontal lines. So these two and these two. Well, the distance from our origin to those lines is not defined real clearly here. But what it actually is, since this is a solid shape when it's finished, it is actually our diameters of these. But it's half the diameter, because keep in mind, you're only drawing half of this shape. It's going to revolve around. It's going to have that same shape at the bottom. So from our origin to this top line here is 76, but it's actually 76 divided by 2. From our origin to this line is 140 divided by 2. And from our origin to the top line is 156 divided by 2. So I'm going to pull that back over to my other screen, and you can kind of just follow along with me. What I'm actually going to do is the largest one first, so lines don't overlap. So from the top line all the way to the origin is going to be 156/2. So that's going to come out to 78. So we'll zoom out so we can see what we're doing still. And we're going to go from this bottom line here to the origin, and that's going to be 140 divided by 2. So that'll be 70. And then from the top line, these two blue ones, to the origin, that is going to be 76 divided by 2. Okay. So now we have our complete shape, and a lot of students are confused because nothing's attached to the origin, but you can still revolve this, and everything is fully defined, so we're good. It doesn't always have to be connected to the origin. We have a distance away from it for a reason. Okay. So here we're going to go over the Features tab, select Revolved Boss Base. It already probably knows that this is the only sketch, so it's asking us for an axis of revolution. And we want this tiny line down here at the bottom. So we'll select that line, and you can see that it's copying that all the way around. So now we'll hit the green check. And this is a solid object, but if you rotate around to the back, you can see it's indented. Okay, just like the picture shows. Now we need to actually sketch on this flat surface to put the holes in. So go to your Sketch tab, select Sketch, click on that flat surface, and then hit Control-8 so that it rotates around. And we're going to be drawing 4 circles. So get your circle tool, and we're going to draw one here, one over here, down at the bottom, and to the left. You can hit the green check, And all 4 of these circles, so holding in shift, all 4 of these circles are equal to one another. They're all the same size. Set them to equal, green check. Then we can actually dimension one of them. So it shows in the picture that it says 16 holes equally spaced. Okay, or 16 size, and there's 4 holes, sorry, that are equally spaced. So that spacing, it shows, is on a construction circle. So there's a construction circle going the whole way through. It goes through the center of each one of them, and that is 110 in diameter. So I can get my circle tool from my origin, draw up to the center of this, click, and then I want to change this to for construction. Okay, hit the green check. Now we got to place each one of these on that circle. So if I move this around, you can see it's going to lock in. Okay, and I want this top circle, holding in shift, to be vertical from my origin. Okay, I also want this bottom circle to be vertical from my origin. So I'm holding in shift and selecting the center points and the origin and made them vertical. These are horizontal. So select all 3 of them, make them horizontal. Okay, and then they all need to be connected to this circle. So I'm just going to simply drag that in until it connects to the circle. Drag this in until it connects. Drag this in until it connects. And now if I resize the circle, you can see they all move. So we simply need to dimension that circle, and that is 110. You can see it all turns black, meaning it's fully defined. So now we can go to the Features tab and Extrude Cut. And we'll change this to Through All, so it cuts through the whole shape. Hit the green check. Now we have our complete shape, so let's change our material. Our material here is ABS, which is a plastic. So we don't want ABS PC. We actually want to go into the folder, and we want to scroll down, find the plastics folder, and inside here we want normal ABS. ABS is a white plastic. So we'll hit Apply and Close, go to Evaluate, Mass Properties, and we should get 219.26 grams. So if you got that, you can save this assignment and you can move on to the next activity. If you didn't, go back in and try to figure out where you went wrong in your sketch, problem solve until you have that complete and correct.